Recording. I am recording. Okay, so welcome back to what? This is our fourth episode.
Episode 4, baby.
Episode 4. This time we're going to talk about the 2003 series Star Wars Clone Wars.
Well, not the Clone Wars, Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars, not the Clone Wars. Not to be mistaken with the 3D animated series, but this is a 2D animated series.
Oh, okay.
This was directed and also partially written by Genndy Tartakovsky, who is also known for doing things like Samurai Jack. He also came out with this series that I haven't mentioned to you yet that I actually really liked. I don't think I ever finished it, but I did like it. It was called Primal, and like it's a series that it's in his same art style, but the entire thing is silent. So it's about like a caveman, and it's all visual storytelling, and so it's done like extremely well. I know it's very critically acclaimed. Everyone loved it, but yeah, and so I was surprised that you hadn't even really heard of this, given how much of a Star Wars fan you are.
Dude, the only Star Wars things I've seen are the movies and whatever's came out after that, like Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and
So you've really only seen live action Star Wars.
yes.
You haven't really delved into animated
never.
stuff.
Like it was kind of even hard watching it and trying to be like, oh, this is supposed to be the same universe and like feel connected, because like when you watch the live action, like, it can get away with all feeling like one universe, and so you can be invested because you know that ties in with everything else. So yeah, this was, besides those episodes you showed me of Star Wars The Clone Wars, this is like the only other thing of Star Wars I've seen animated, and the Family Guy special.
Did you see like the style before you press play, or was it like you press play and then it was just like a how do you say it? Like it was very jarring. Like, oh shit! Like this is what it is.
Yeah, literally. Because I see the picture and then I kind of, I told you I saw a scene, so I kind of, had an idea of what it was gonna look like. And then I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, like I have to really get used to it. Like it took me like 10 minutes, not even joking, to like almost get into the zone of like watching it and being like absorbed by it. And but yeah, the art was different.
So like, yeah, it is. And so the first scene, bro, like what were you thinking whenever it shows the Clone Wars going through? So like that's kind of his thing, because Samurai Jack, I'm pretty sure he talks, but he doesn't talk a lot in the show. And so I think that's like this director's style, is he really loves visual storytelling. So like that's why in the first volume, and so I asked Abraham, I told him, I was like, hey, we're gonna do this the next episode on that Clone Wars series, and I was like, do you remember that? And he goes, oh, you mean when the clone troopers are like silent and they're like giving commands with their hands? I'm like, yeah, exactly. For some reason that's so like intriguing, seeing them like covertly go through the city,
That was a badass scene, bro. You like,
okay, I was so glad you liked that, because I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, the clone trooper, I like felt invested watching them. Usually like they're a side character or something, like they're the decoys, the throwaways. And so when
like they're just fodder.
Yeah, when they had their scene in the city, I'm like, bro, like they're a unit. They're actually kind of scary. Like finally,
right? They're like locating the enemy, setting up defenses, giving commands, and it's so badass. I'm like, God, I love this stuff so much. It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think makes it so intriguing is because there's music through the whole thing, but then whenever it's like whenever it gets serious, it cuts out all sound. So it'll be like a silent city, and then you just hear the ship going like through, and then you hear the one rocket. And I mentioned that to Alden, and one thing that he pointed out to me, do you know who John Williams is, the guy who does all the music for Star Wars?
Oh, the composer guy? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've heard of him.
When we were talking about the series as well, he was saying that one thing that John Williams said is just as important where you don't put music as it is like where you put the music to help a scene. So like I think that's one thing that this series did well. It's like, okay, in order to focus in on what's happening or make it more serious, we're not going to oversaturate the scene with music, you know? And I feel like that effect like was very, very, like I felt
Dude,
it.
the music, I really liked it. Like how they had the quiet scenes, how you were saying, like I felt they did that kind of a lot where it was just straight action, not even words were said at all, I
Yeah.
feel like. And
Yeah, cuz especially like cuz in the start of the Mace Windu one, there's all that action, and then when that big machine comes in to like drop that like hammer
Stomper
down,
thing,
it's completely
yes.
yeah, it's like completely
Hmm.
silent, and you just hear the machine moving, and then when he starts fighting it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
I
So, did you have a favorite for volume 1, did you have a favorite like action uh little episode? Like out of all the episodes, which one do you think was like, okay, I think that one's the
Dude,
most
they had
badass?
like so many fight scenes. I feel like to pick, I don't even know if one comes to the top of my head. But there was definitely some fight scenes where I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like this stormtrooper one. You know when they're fighting the jousters?
Oh yeah, like
Was
with
is
the
that
javelins, and
episode
they're
one
like,
or two? Okay,
that's
okay. So
volume 1 as
so
well.
they have they're just getting wrecked by the jouster guys, right? And then
Yeah, the
yeah,
spaghetti
yeah,
guy.
that guy. And then and then you just see them getting wrecked, and you're like, what the heck? Like that's OP. And then the next scene is literally like if they adapted and they picked up javelins of themselves, like for themselves, and then they charge at
Yeah.
them with the javelins. And then that Obi scene, like when you see the guy's helmet come off, you're like, what? And I'm like, oh, that was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, okay, that was cool. Like,
Uh-huh.
I thought
Uh-huh.
that was definitely one that
Icon- Iconic outfit too. I love seeing Obi-Wan in a clone outfit.
yeah, because he does that right in episode 3.
I don't know if it's in episode
It was
3. Does he? Where he's wearing? No, no, no. I don't think he does that in episode 3, but he does do it in the 3D animated series, and it's just such an iconic look seeing a Jedi with like the clone armor.
yeah, like I definitely like all the Anakin scenes. Like I don't know, I've never watched anything like besides the movie, so like you're limited to like what you know about a character, from what's only shown in the movies.
Uh huh.
And I don't know, it was kind of funny. Like you kind of just see like the behind the scenes of kind of what gets him to become, Darth Vader, and like
Oh, uh
and
huh. Like those little
yeah, and there's
trials and
always like
stuff in
little
Volume
hints.
2.
They kind of do it in the movie, but like not really like at all. I feel like you don't get that hint of him being like dark because he doesn't really kill until the very end when he kills.
I mean, he did have that one major scene in episode 2. Remember
Oh,
where
and
he
he
finds
killed.
his mom and then
Okay,
she
true,
dies and he
true.
murders
Episode 2,
everyone.
yeah, yeah,
But you're right. Besides that, I feel like the movies are so limited. Like because he has to like get to the point,
yeah.
with like these plots and stick to the main thing. I feel like they're so limited in what they can do. Like I remember growing up, I always thought Mace Windu was like the most badass Jedi, which he still is. But because of this series, I'm like, this series showed me everything the movies didn't have time to show me. And that leads me to like the next topic that I wanted to bring up is General Grievous, dude. His portrayal in this show, I know like he has a different voice actor. There were some awkward scenes, but overall, like he's like the
It's
Terminator in
scary
this.
in the second one. Like,
Oh yeah, like when he attacked those stormtroopers and he was just slamming their heads
bro,
like
and
into
like
the
literally,
walls.
it was because like they were showing in the first volume for sure. Like stormtroopers were wrecking everybody, like everybody, and then he just
Uh huh.
shows up, and then he starts wrecking the stormtroopers, and then I mean, sorry, not the stormtroopers, the Jedi's.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
then he's
yeah.
like that one scene where they get to like the final secret layer with all the security, and you're like, okay, he can't penetrate. He's just like hanging like a bat, Like, you just see his head, like,
Oh
and you're like,
yeah.
oh, what the heck? How do you get there so fast?
I know. I kind of just like it makes me wonder what they could have done in live action with Grievous if they had more time. Because really, he doesn't kill a single Jedi in the movies, and he's known as like the Jedi killer or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. But in order to see him do stuff like that, you got to watch the 2003 miniseries. That's not
They
even
didn't want to kill
canon.
off the good Jedi or whatever for the movies if they wanted to bring them back or something.
Exact. Yeah, probably. But you literally see it, like it implies that he's like
Yeah.
chopping their heads off. The first guy to run out, he
Stomps
like
on him.
crushes him to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stomps him.
Yeah.
Like it's so intimidating. I love
I
that.
mean, I don't know. General Grievous is cool. I guess I didn't think of him like, oh my God, General Grievous, yes. Like, uh,
Yeah, I'm not like the biggest fan. I'm just like, oh shit. Like if I had to compare the
I,
two, like this one is
wait,
better than the
in the movie,
movie.
I guess I can't remember. Is General Grievous and Dooku, like, are they already a thing in the movies? Or were they ever?
He's only in episode 3.
So, so he wasn't, they didn't really show if they had like that relationship, right?
Yeah, they didn't really expand on that. There is canon stuff in the 3D animated Clone Wars, but in
Oh,
the third one, you don't really see him talk to Dooku. I think he's mentioned in the second movie, but in the third one, you just see him in the beginning
yeah.
whenever he's like coughing, and then he escapes, and then I think he has his fight with
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, and then that's it. And it's like,
That's
what a
right.
wasted character for the movies, at least.
Oh, literally, I was saying this the whole time, and this is me kind of talking about another thing, but like when they would do the Force in this one, I was just like, wait, does Grievous have the Force? And I was like,
Oh, you're wondering why they weren't
just
like
like straight crushing
having
him,
him?
because you know how they show at the end. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, why didn't they do that the whole time? And then throughout the whole
yeah,
movie, everyone's crushing stuff like with the Force, and I'm like, okay, so
yeah. Like very easily crushing, dismantling, removing all the
everything.
bolts and
I was
screws.
just like, come on, do that to Grievous right now. And I thought they were gonna do it. And like I was like,
Yeah,
okay. They do it at the end, like why couldn't he just finish the job? He like crushed him a little bit and said, all right, I'll let you go.
yeah.
Like
Right after you just saw him like punch people like the Flash and dismantle like multiple
right?
droids, you couldn't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. So
Like he's not made. It's never stated he's like made out of special metal, but I guess you got to use that head canon to justify things like that.
yeah, I like how they did Anakin's arm. It was like gold in the beginning and then they changed it at the
Uh
end.
huh.
Because in the movies they don't really show it at all. His arm. Like bionically. Like
Uh,
he wears the glove in episode 3. And then
yeah.
episode 2 is when it gets
I
cut
think he gets
off.
hit a couple times, and maybe it shows like a hole through his glove. But yeah,
He,
you're right. Like they don't really show his
he just
hand
had it out and
like
about. You
that.
know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You forget sometimes that he lost that arm, so you always just see it. I was like, okay, it's
Yeah.
shiny.
It wasn't in the budget.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the budget to do
CGI
a
the
CGI
robot. Yeah,
arm hand the whole time.
yeah,
It was wasted on Grievous.
true.
But so there's other things I wanted to show you that I'm just like,
Okay.
because in my opinion, George Lucas is a very uh non-creative director. Like obviously he created Star Wars, so he has some creativity. But when it comes to directing or like fight styles, like pretty much all his fights that he's done himself is one-on-one uh duels. And so he never really plays with environment, like weather. Like in this one, I mean, even when he had Obi-Wan in the rain, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't really think to do much with that. But then whenever this director had Anakin fighting in the rain, they sit there and you see the steam of the raindrops, from their lightsabers. Like he creates a visual. I just feel like if it was any other director, not any other director, but maybe someone a little bit better, they could have pulled out some like same story, but maybe just did some directing choices that were more creative. Because I just feel like he was lacking in that area.
Because in this one they do so many things you just never seen before at all. and like
Yeah, like the underwater lightsaber
yeah,
too.
that I was like, okay, whatever.
You didn't like
I
that?
was like, okay, lightsabers work underwater, I guess. Is it not?
They do actually. That's canon though. That's canon.
I heard, I heard.
Yeah, it was explained that he like invented that. But again, like that guy, bro, when he's in the third movie, he just gets one tap.
Yeah,
He just
I
gets
saw
fucking
that.
one tap.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. That's George Lucas, bro. But
Oh my
when
goodness.
other people handle Star Wars, they literally take it to like another level.
Yeah, it just feels like, yes, this is what you should be doing with that power. Like, use it to the full potential. And like in the
Yeah,
movies, they're just
yeah.
like, all right, not in the budget. We're just gonna kind of do this, and like,
Yeah,
it,
I think in the movies, pretty much they only push people. Like, I don't think Jedi's even ever pull like a droid to them or anything. They literally only do a push.
yeah, because imagine having to do the budget for like force pulling, 50 droids, and then force pushing them back out, and then them
I
crumpling.
mean, they're all CGI, so if you CGI them in the scene, you could just make them do whatever you want. Like you already
Yeah, like
paid
the
the animators to have them in there.
but that's more CGI hours, and that's why sometimes they don't do stuff. I feel because like if they don't want to animate this scene because it'll take maybe too long, and they're like, nah, we need to crank this out. Maybe they're like, let's just play it safe. Let's only have him push one person at a time. That's kind of easy. That's in the budget. But yeah, in this one they did
Yeah,
like the one where he rips apart the robot bolt by bolt and then shoots them.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's badass. And I was like, okay, finally
yeah.
someone's doing some cool stuff. Like,
Exactly. So I'm so glad you understood that because I didn't know if you were gonna be like, well, that's not Star Wars, or if you were gonna feel that same thing with that we felt when we watched it when we were younger, where we're like, I wish the movies
yeah,
because I would love to see the same exact thing just in live
dude,
action.
that'd be awesome. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that's why I feel like they need to bring more people like this onto Star Wars that really take it because even with all the shows that have come out, like what we've had like fucking five
Yes.
new shows with Jedi's, and still they didn't do anything like they did in this
Yeah, literally.
2003 21-year-old
Yeah. I
thing.
mean, the closest thing we've got was that Darth Vader scene, him pulling down the ship. Like that's like one of the closest things that
Yeah,
we've ever gotten to seeing something crazy like that happen where they show how powerful the force is.
yeah, yeah. But it's almost like, but that you can also say that's the fans' fault because you know how pissed they would get that if they do something that's like slightly inaccurate.
Yeah.
Star Wars fans are the absolute worst. Like, my brother was telling me that people were pissed because I forgot the name of that Jedi. Was that cone head looking Jedi?
Bonehead? The one who survives, the old
Yeah, he
guy?
is. Yeah, the one who was like
Yeah.
fighting
Yeah,
Grievous
I
to
don't
the
know his
death.
name.
They said he was in the Acolyte, and so because of like some obscure card game, right? His species is known or stated in the like Star Wars Wikipedia to live for like a couple hundred years, almost like Yoda, just not as much. But because of some obscure card game that said like his age or when he was born, everyone was like, well, this is inaccurate. He shouldn't be in the Acolyte because of this. And like this card game clearly says he was born in this time. It's just like, you guys are so,
The continuity.
you guys are the reason.
Hey, but low key, bro, I like when they keep continuity though. So I respect those fans a little bit because
Okay, but would you say that's justified to critique the show from an obscure card game that probably George Lucas himself didn't have anything to do
well,
with?
I'd be like, well, if you're gonna put an age, you should know. Like, if you're a fan, you'd be like, well, you don't really know his age. Just put the right age to make sure it lines up. But it depends. Like, if did acolytes come after that card game or whatever?
Well, it's not like the card game itself was listed as canon. Like, it's not like this card game isn't the information hub for Star Wars. Like, I don't think it's what people should be
But it's
going
a
to.
random
So
card game.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, random card
Okay, I don't know
game.
why I thought the card game was in the like a TV show and they showed his age. Oh,
Oh
okay.
no! It's a random real life card game
Oh.
that they like base their opinion off of, and it's like really like that affected your view of
Okay,
the
well, the card
show.
game's inaccurate and they don't know what they're talking about. But
Yeah,
like
no, it's kind of ridiculous.
the reason I said the continuity is because I've been watching this video. You know, the ones I've told you about. They're called I forgot the word, when they just look back on art. Um,
Oh yeah, a
Retrospective, yes. So I've
retrospective.
been watching a bunch of those, and they always point out the continuity errors, and it'll just be like, well, in this episode they said that this is not allowed, and because that wasn't allowed, it affected the plot. But now in the future, that thing is allowed, and they just have no recollection of what happened before. And I'm just like, yeah, like I'm glad someone pointed that out. It's like you have to be like a psycho fan
Yeah,
almost to even realize those things. Like,
yeah, because probably like that's for like the Disney shows too, right? Like if you miss an episode, you're not
yeah.
gonna remember that episode. Like you missed it, like you're done. You gotta wait 20 years when you can. It's on Netflix or something.
But I really like some of the characters in this one for sure. Like there was some like in the second one, or which one was it? Yeah, the second one. The second one showed Grievous training, or was that the first one? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was the
Yeah, so
second
I
one. It was
really
definitely the
liked
second one.
what's his? I forget it. I'm going blank on names. No,
Count Dooku.
Sith. Sidious. Why am I saying Sidious?
Oh, Darth Sidious.
Yeah, or is that his name? Why does that sound wrong?
Like Palpatine.
Yeah,
Yeah, Darth Sidious.
Dark Sidious. That sounds wrong. Anyways, I really like how they showed his character in this one. Like every time they showed him, I was like so locked in because
Really? Why?
he's literally like in this one they really expand on like how it's kind of playing both sides and like
Oh, like you see his behind the scenes.
yeah, and like you could just see his face like when he's calm, like when he has that calm scene when the battle's going on, like or
Yeah,
he's calm while he's getting chased, like standing up to
because he
greet.
knows he's like setting this up.
Yeah, and like even he's basically his own team is kind of how I picture it. Like he's not the good guys, but he's not the bad guys either because he's also just using the bad guys to further his plan.
Yeah,
Um
it's like he's playing a game that literally no one else even knows they're
yes,
playing.
he's literally like dead in the middle controlling both sides. And like when
Yeah.
they showed that scene of like that what's that girl's name, Sith? The girl who
Oh, Asajj Ventress.
Asajj Ventress. Okay. I'm gonna just Sith. Didn't she say she was called Sith?
Sith?
Yeah, like
Bro, Sith is a
yeah,
title.
but in that fight scene when she shows up, like the battle, you know, when she goes to fight all the bad guys, and then she wins, she's
Yeah.
like, "I am Sith," and then Dooku's like, You're not
Yeah.
Sith."
She's saying she is a Sith Lord.
Oh, I thought she was calling it.
That's like saying I am Jedi.
Oh, okay. I thought she was saying like, "That's my
You
name."
thought her name was
Yeah, I
Sith.
literally wrote introduces Sith. but yeah, so
Yeah,
like
no.
then they show her training, and then like she's like, "You must go fight Anakin. Like you gotta kill him. I hate him."
Mhm.
But in reality, like he's using her to just further get Anakin to be like come to the dark side by using rage, and then on the flip side, he's telling Anakin, "Go fight this girl. She's gonna be here. Go fight her and put a stop to her." And he's
Yeah.
literally
Speaking of
doing
that
that.
scene, bro, there's some things I forgot, and so when I was rewatching it, I was like, I love that scene where she is like basically hiding in the bushes, but killing all the stormtroopers like
Yeah.
silently one by one and just slamming
That was
them.
a good
And
scene.
then that one shot,
He's like-
you see that
Yeah,
stormtrooper flying in the background.
He's like get tossed.
That was so
He's like
funny.
spinning.
I know because he's like spitting and
I
like
spitting.
yeah. That was like comedic.
Dude, that scene was actually funny because it was like serious, and then they just throw that in there like it's nothing, and then like,
Yeah, like they didn't have to have him twirling. They could have just had him
yeah,
go around, but he was twirling in the air.
yeah. That fight scene was really cool too. Like you just see Anakin popping off. Like I'm
Yeah,
the
like
biggest.
they play with the light and the colors. You know, like when he holds the red
Yes.
lightsaber under the red moon, it's just like, man,
Damn, dude, and
I want to see more of shit
I'm
like
the
this.
biggest Anakin stan out here, bro. You know, I love.
Really? Okay, so he's your favorite character?
Well, Darth Vader is my favorite character, so by default,
He's Anakin.
yeah.
He's
Okay,
Anakin.
so then I'll say yeah. I'll say yeah because I just think it's so cool how like his whole story just goes, bro. And he's like trying his best, but you know, like he doesn't know. And so in that scene, like I always love when they throw like the Darth Vader music in there, like with
Oh, you just love the hints towards him
Yes.
turning in the future.
Those are always satisfying because they always play that music when he's like, you know, maybe saying like when he had the fight against Obi, like or the disagreement in the
Yeah, when he's doing something
yeah, they just like
dark.
plays like the two notes like dun 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 like
Dun dun dun.
and
Yeah.
those are satisfying for me. So in that scene, like you just they play it a little bit when he's like switching. I'm like, yes, this scene's badass.
Yeah, I know. You're always like, they have
They
no
don't
idea,
know.
but I know. But I know.
What could this mean? What could this mean?
Yeah. They don't know what that music means, but
Me
I
knowing what it
know.
means. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then also like that one shot where like they're like grappling and then the red light shines on his face and it's like dun, 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 or whatever it did
Yeah.
in that scene.
So like I just like when
All
they
those
can
things.
expand because like I actually felt a little cooler with Anakin. Like it feels like you're kind of like actually watching versus other ones are okay, but I don't know. Like I feel like this one I
Hmm.
just felt like a little more connected. So it felt fun to watch because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, finally. Even though
Oh,
like
because you knew it related to like the main story.
yeah,
Like it wasn't
in a
just a one
way,
off
yeah, I
nothing.
was trying to be like, this is canon, this is canon, like just so when I watch it, like it plays out. But
Yeah. I did not like Volume 2, bro. As
yeah,
soon
you
as I
said
saw that
that.
scene,
You said that.
as soon as as soon as I saw the scene with C3PO where he was fucking stripping and ready to like, he was ready to fuck in that moment.
Wait,
Do you not remember that?
when he reveals his gold?
Yes, bro.
Ready
And like
to
you hear the
fuck?
sexy jazz music. He was literally DTF in that moment.
No,
He's like, oh, if you ask me to strip,
oh
like
my goodness.
he did not have to be
Dude,
that
that scene was
sexual with
cold,
it.
bro. Because I was like, why is he silver? Like then the first one, and then they show him gold. I was like, ah, there we go. This is the moment where he got the gold plate, and like,
Yeah.
it,
They never show
yeah.
that.
I was like, yeah.
I'm just like, oh fuck this, bro. I just like I'm
Really?
into the
That's
action,
all?
and then you just I don't know. I
Bro,
didn't like
okay,
it.
so something that I guess is the reason why I felt this way, and I felt this watching it, is I found out that like they were releasing season one in clips, so like season one didn't really drop like a whole like episode one didn't drop like a whole,
Oh yeah,
so it was
yeah.
like minutes, and when I was watching it first, I literally write down like so many things are going on
Oh
because
yeah, it's just going back and forth and back and forth.
I'm like, what is? I'm trying to be like, okay, what's the story, right? I'm like, okay, the clone, they're fighting the droid. That's just what's going on, and everyone's fighting droids. But then I'm like, okay, am I paying attention to this character, and then like the Aqua guy, and then am I paying attention to Anakin or Obi Wan or Yoda or Mace Windu, or
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, wait, what's going? Like, what are they just all fighting? And I was a little bit confused, and then versus watching the second one, I was like, okay, this story is like
Yeah, that had a real story. Like
yeah.
it picked up where it left off the last time.
Yeah, and it continued. And I was like, okay, this one feels a little more paced. I can like relax and like get into the story and not be jumping. So when you sent me your text message to like my reaction to episode two, I was like,
Uh,
what could possibly what is going to be the
I think
difference?
I think it was just the like I didn't like you're completely right. The story is actually way more cohesive, but I just thought like the dialogue seems so cheesy. He's like,
Yeah,
I don't know, like all the dialogue between Obi-Wan and Anakin felt like such childish. I mean, it is a kid's cartoon, but it just took me out of it. I'm like, go back to shutting up. Like, don't talk. I felt like all of you were awesome when you weren't talking.
yeah, they did definitely a lot more talking, and even like I was uninvested at first in Anakin's story. Like I was like, go back to
Uh-huh.
the capital. Like what's going on over there? And so
Uh-huh.
when they were showing like ritual and like I was like, I don't even care. Like the beginning part when they kill that big thing, I'm like, okay, this is whack. Like why? What's going on?
Yeah, it just seemed like lame. Like I'd
Yeah.
rather go back to the battles, like
You know, literally, I was like,
the real
bro,
shit.
call Anakin and Obi for help. Like, why aren't y'all calling? Like, I was literally saying, that. I
Like
was
why
like,
is he doing this side
this is
mission for
very
no
side
reason?
quest, like to save one planet when the capital is being attacked. The Chancellor, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, the
And
chancellor.
if the Chancellor's in an attack, bro, they call in all forces, and they did it. And
For real.
I was like, okay, this
Nah,
is.
bro, they had Mace Windu, bro. They didn't need anybody.
Yeah,
Mace Windu is the coldest Jedi
Mace Windu
of all time.
was popping off. What? When you So the one thing that I was like, okay, is this what he's talking about for episode 2 was the bug eating scene? I was like, oh, maybe he
Oh,
doesn't like.
see that too? It's just weird shit. Like just weird.
It was very, very random.
He was slurping up those worms and like
I was
I
like,
don't know. I didn't. Did you notice? There's one voice actor that they put her to work. I don't know if you noticed all the characters she played.
no, I did not notice at all.
Here, let me pull her name up
She
so you can
played
know
like a lot of
exactly who she
voices
is.
in this one.
In that
Oh,
series,
really?
uh, she did. She's very iconic. Her name is Gray Delisle. I hope I'm saying that right.
Uh huh.
Did you not notice that she is the voice? So she did the voice of Padme, right?
Okay.
But she also did the voice of Asajj Ventress.
So, oh, okay.
She did both of them, and she is the voice actress for Azula.
Oh, Zula.
Yeah, she's a veteran. So after this series, she's also one that continued with
We seen.
yeah, so she voiced Asajj Ventress through the whole 2008 series, and she's done a ton of Star Wars stuff. So if you click on her profile and look at her like IMDb, bro, she is she's a vet. She is a veteran in the series, but also a veteran in like Star Wars animation. They use her for a lot of characters.
Well, when like the voice actors get integrated into like the fandom, and they join it. Because imagine like you're just doing a random voice, because you know these voice actors like they go through voices, and you just join the Star
Yeah.
Wars voice universe, and that you just loved for this character that you're like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. It's almost like a whole nother world for Star Wars. Like there's the beloved live action people, but then there's also the beloved, like everybody loves, including me, loves the guy who does the voice for the animated Darth Maul in
Oh
the Clone
yeah,
Wars
yeah.
series. He is so iconic and he does such a good job like portraying him. And now everybody, like, we all love Ray Park, the guy who did him in real life. Like everyone loves him as well, but everybody also loves the guy who did uh um Darth Maul in the animated series.
I know. So I heard something that was like because of this show they made the actual The Clone Wars. Um,
Yeah.
and I thought that was kind of funny because they were probably like testing the waters. Like, I wonder if this show might, if we'll get traction. And I don't know if it blew up right away or not, but it probably did good that like they're like, yeah, let's make it a show. Stop this now.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that this was a like kind of like a test run. Like we don't know if this is going to be for real, but let's see how a
So
series would
George Lucas
look.
didn't write nothing, didn't like give them information, like he didn't.
I think he gave them information, but when I was looking at the writers, there was a team of writers including the guy who directed this, but he's not really listed
Yeah, I was
anywhere.
trying to see his name in the credits, and I don't think I saw anything. So I was like, is this just completely random lore, or like did they have some like archive of like, all right, these are some of the people you should use.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all from George Lucas though, because like he also was a big part in the Clone Wars series after this, and pretty much every character like went over. He's like, yeah, I do like Asajj Ventress and Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer is the guy who does Darth Maul in the Clone Wars series, and he is great. He is fantastic.
Nice.
So yeah, so far, I mean, for a 2003, I don't really want to rate it because I mean, it's like a kind of like a throwaway series that I feel like it has no business being as good as it is, you know. So I can't say anything about the flaws. Like I just don't I don't feel like saying anything about that because it could have been terrible, like awful. So it exceeded its expectations.
That's me what I rate it. Now you
What
have
do
to
you
be
rate
like,
it?
so what do you rate the?
Okay, so what do you rate? What do you rate? Um, the Clone Wars series with on a scale of 10 midichlorians being the best. How many midichlorians do you give this?
So, everything considered, the year, the Star Wars-esque vibe that I got, I'm going to be giving this movie a solid 8.7 midichlorians out of 10.
Okay.
I think Star Wars is Star Wars, and I'm always gonna love Star Wars stuff.
You're here for it.
if they're gonna, I even like the Family Guy Star Wars stuff because it was just Star Wars stuff. So if it's showing,
if it's Star Wars, you're there
just because of that. And then plus the way they did the Force in this one was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
The action, everything was so cool. Obviously, there's just some things I was like, but for the most part, it was like a really fun. And I was like, okay, this is like, I haven't watched Star Wars in a while. Like, I usually rewatch the movies around Christmas time, and so it's coming up. But besides the Family Guy Star Wars episode, this is like,
you haven't seen any new
I haven't
stuff.
seen nothing since Ahsoka came out, which I don't even know when it came out. But so it's been
that was last year.
Yeah. Okay. But so it's been a while. I haven't seen nothing. So it was like a breath of fresh air just watching it. So
yeah, true. Also because of how unique it is. It's
yeah.
Like, you didn't just get a Disney Star Wars show again. You got something new.
Yeah. It was cool. And so I'm glad to, now I know I'm in. I know the lore.
I'd highly recommend on our server, bro, that you have. So the 2008 CGI series, it's super good. And there's like, you know how you said you liked seeing Palpatine?
Yeah.
Well, you get to see like prime Palpatine like have a ton of fight scenes in that series. And if you thought this series was good, bro, there's a ton of arcs in there. But the problem is, right, is that it's they do all the stories out of order. So they'll do a story in season 2 that happened before a story in season 1. So it's like all out of whack. But I found this version where this guy put every single story in chronological order, and he upscaled it to 4K. So that's the version we have on our server if you ever wanted to check out that series.
It's a long series, right? It has a couple seasons.
It does. Okay, but it's like spurs. So like season 1 has 60 episodes, right?
Damn.
But season 3 has 7. So it's like you can get through it, you know?
What, maybe 100 episodes?
Let me see. 67 plus 20. Yeah, probably around 100 episodes. But bro, it's Star Wars content, and it's like really good. It's not bad Star Wars content.
I have been wanting to watch that because I know it's all canon, so technically everything that happens is true, right?
Yeah, it's 100% canon, and like they even go over things that you would love to see. Like they show the actual Anakin trials that he goes through. Like, you know how in this series they had that scene where he sees a dream and like he has a bad vision and all that stuff.
But yeah, I really like that scene.
Like they expand upon that, but they kind of do a official version that's like very like done, I'd say twice as good as that one. So if you want to see more stuff like that, they have a ton of Anakin content in that show.
Yeah. I want to like at least, you know, to call myself a Star Wars fan, know the whole lore of all the canons, you know, scenes and stuff. So I might give it a watch, but it's just like, it's something to watch, you know. But it's definitely on the list.
Yeah, I might start it too, but I want to start it slowly because I do feel overwhelmed with how much there is. But I'm still motivated because I know, I've seen arcs before, like not like individual little stories, and every single time I'm shown the stories, I'm like, damn, that was good. Like that was worth watching.
Have you seen the whole thing?
No, I haven't either. I've just seen I've seen multiple arcs where it's like this little 4-episode story is like good, and every time I'm impressed.
So I guess we'll start at the same time whenever you start it.
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
So if I'm gonna rate it, I mean, it's a childhood thing for me, so I'm completely.
Wait. On a scale from 1 midichlorian being the worst and 10 midichlorians being the best, what do you rate it?
I'd have to go with 8 out of 10. If I was just judging volume 1, I would give it like a 9.5 out of 10 because I feel like it's like it has a purpose where it's like, hey, look at this action. All this action is done well. The end. But because of the wonkiness of volume 2, it brings it down a little bit.
Yeah. Brings the average down.
Yeah, exactly. But for the time, this little mini series obviously outdid their expectations. So,
All right, it seems like we're about the same on our
yeah,
ratings. So definitely means,
bro. I told you this earlier, but I want to say it on the pod. I literally thought you're gonna be like, just because he didn't like Mario, I'm gonna talk shit about this.
Actually, this is actually the worst thing I've ever seen. And based on just action alone, like I would have rather played the actual Star Wars game and shoot and fight than myself.
Not enough references.
No, definitely. Why wasn't Darth Vader in this one? What the heck? No,
but yeah. So, do you want to know what we're doing for the next episode?
Yes. What are we watching next?
Okay, I feel like we got to take a break from animation, and I wanted to. Okay. I've seen this movie already, and I just know you haven't. I want to know your thoughts on Godzilla -1.
Godzilla -1.
Yes.
Is that the original one? No, that's a newer one. That's a new -1 is a newer.
Yeah, it's a newer one. So it has nothing to do with the American one. It was made by Japan, and they won an Oscar for their graphics or their CGI.
So it's nothing to do with Godzilla versus Kong or whatever?
Yeah, nothing to do with it. And after this movie came out, bro, it was extremely critically acclaimed, and people praise it as the best Godzilla movie of all time.
Okay, so there's no back lore I need to know. It's a fresh start?
Yeah, fresh start, fresh story. Okay. It's set in World War II, and because that's when the original, so it actually takes a lot of inspiration from the original Godzilla, like the first ever Godzilla. It even has a lot of the music from that original movie, which I didn't know, because a lot of that music is almost timeless, because they put it like note for note in this. And when I'm listening to the music in the movie, I'm like, my God, this is a good ass like motif or little score. And then I didn't even know it's like a 1940 score from the original movie.
I'm actually hyped because I when that movie did come out, I heard a lot of things about it, and I wanted to see it, and I just never did. So,
would you be willing to watch it in black and white?
Black and white?
I saw both, right? And I took Valerie, and Valerie is not a fan of black and white movies, right?
Okay. Yeah. Who is?
It's a very, every single person who saw it in black and white and in color say that the black and white added a like grittiness to it and like a darkness to the story that like elevated the material. So I guarantee you, if you watched it in black and white, it would have a better effect on you versus if you watched it in color. I say give it a chance, but if you're like really dead set,
how do you want me to watch it? Black and white or
I would ask you to watch it in black and white, because the only reason is because when I went back and saw it in color, I was still like, no, like take away the color. Like I love like the black and white. Yeah.
You think it's because it makes the CGI look a little realer?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Like things blend in better. So like, it blends the effects better, and it makes the story feel more immersive, because it's like, oh, I am in the 1940s. Like this is a different time.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen a movie in black and white.
Never? Not even like an old one, bro?
Not on purpose. Maybe if they played it in like a cartoon as like a trope or something like that, but
every episode we're doing is gonna be in black and white now.
We're colorblind.
Yeah. But I promise you, like, you may not like it honestly, because you don't have a lot of experience with black and white, but neither does Valerie, and she did like it. Like she did think it added to it. So
look at this noob. He's never seen a black and white movie.
I think you're gonna think it added something to it.
Okay, I'm down. I'm up for new things and black and white. Never seen a movie like that, so at least it's gonna be a
Man,
good
well,
one.
yeah, and at least it's modern, so you're not watching a black and white
Yeah,
1920s,
because I was
The
gonna say
Cabinet of Dr.
actually, I
Caligari.
think I started watching that samurai one or the seven something.
The Seven Samurai.
Yeah, I think I started. It was black and white, and I was like, after 20 minutes or so, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
You give up.
I'm done.
Wow, bro, you even love film like that, bro.
Dude, I'm not a real connoisseur, bro.
I know.
Damn it.
It's crazy. But that's why we do this pod. For anyone listening, this guy doesn't know. I'm just kidding.
That's the truth.
I'm the more pretentious one. I'm the more pretentious one, and I want
have truth to them.
Yeah. I mean, that's the dynamic where we want.
Yes.
You know.
So next week's first time pictures will be Godzilla -1.
Godzilla -1.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I think that's the end of this episode. Thank you to anyone who's listening.
Shout out to the people back home, guys. Catch you guys in next week's video or next week's episode.
Yep.
All right, guys. Catch y'all on the flip side.
Peace. All right. Good episode, bro. 47 minutes.